Okay guys, automation clips. We need them in our music to make it sound more interesting and dynamic. I want to show you a track that I have made where I've added a lot of automation clips. The purpose of this video is just to inspire you, to show you how I use automation clips to add some interest to my tracks. So let's jump straight into FL Studio. So this is the track without any automation clips. It's fine, but I just think it lacks a little bit of extra movement. So I'll just go through each of my automation clips from the top and just explain what it's doing and why I chose to use it. So if we take the first one, this is actually just on the master channel. So I've pulled up a fruity parametric EQ with just a high pass filter. So over here, when I play, it will just generally just add a little bit more high pass filtering. Basically an DJ effects with the filtering. So just this effect, and it's really great for transitions between sections. So I think it worked really well. So the next ones are on this perk loop down here. So let me just solo it. This one. So what's happening with this automation clip is actually pretty cool. So if I go to the perk loop channel, I've loaded up the transient master from Native Instruments. You can just use whatever transient shaper that you have. But basically this one can add some more attack. It can add less attack, more sustain, and less sustain. And how I'm using it is that the sustain channel, the sustain knob, actually adds some really cool effects when you increase it a lot or decrease it. So if we just play it. So you can hear like that the perk loop is actually changing character because of the automation. And what I actually did with this particular automation is that I actually recorded this knob, moving this knob, I recorded it. I don't want to touch upon that in this video, but if you want to learn how to automate knobs and create automated automation clips, record them, you can watch this video up here or up here. It's really handy to get more organic results because you can see like this is not like static, it's more like fluent motion with like twisting a knob in the physical realm. And I think like this just adds a lot of cool effect to this perk loop together with the kick and the clap. It's basically just moving a lot in a really cool way. And this is just done by just automating one knob. So let's move on. I have some closed hi-hats down here. Just playing on the downbeat and on the offbeat. Then I have something that's pretty cool that I encourage you to try out. I have taken the closed hi-hat, and then I have set up a reverb synth channel over here. It's this one, number 14. And I'm routing the closed hi-hat to the reverb synth down here. But as you can see, it doesn't have any like volume being fed into the reverb synth channel. But that's what our automation is going to do. So the reverb synth just have some reverb. So down here, this opens up the reverb synth. If you look here, and here it's doing like this reverb throw. So it gives it like that really cool washed out effect to the closed hi-hats. That's pretty cool. So then I also added another effect, just a phaser. It's really, really subtle. But it's just to add a little bit of extra change. And that phaser is just coming from the kilohertz phaser. It was just to add a little bit of extra spice to these closed hi-hats. Then I have some open hi-hats. Like a classic 909. But then I added this delay feedback modulation down here. And this is actually not a an effect from a plugin, but it's actually built into the sampler, the Fruity sampler. So right here I have under the wrench, we have this echo delayed fat mode here. And then I'm basically just automating this feed knob here. Just adding a little bit of delay sparkles into the open hi-hat. And it's really cool because then you don't have to load up another plugin and take up CPU. You can just use the built-in effects in the sampler. I think that's pretty nifty. Then I have like another modulation thing going down here, automation. And this is basically modulating, automating the pitch of the open hi-hat. So pitching it up just to add like a little bit of craziness in the transitions. So it's just going upwards, and I'm doing that in the, let me just take it, yeah. So in the envelope settings, in the sampler for the open hi-hat, on the pitch, I'm basically just modulating the amount. Yes. And it's just like a subtle effect, but it kind of works in the context with all the other elements. I think you should see all of these different automation clips as small touches, nuances that can add something in the total picture of your song. So just adding small tweaks, small changes, and doing that to a lot of different tracks in your song, it can really add like that dynamic change and that sense of everything is moving a little bit. Because when we are working in a digital audio session, sometimes when we program stuff in a grid, everything can sound a little bit static, computerish. It's okay if that's the vibe that you're going for, but you can actually pretty easily add some movement, organic stuff with automation clips. The next one is a tambourine. This is just a loop from Splice, but I just wanted to add like some panning automation clip. So this is just, I think I loaded up the Fruity balance, and then I'm just creating an automation clip of the balance, and then it's just moving. And as you might hear, it just blends really well together with all of the other automation clips that we have added to the other drum elements. So everything is just really nicely working together. Then if we navigate down to these ones down here, this is a reverser plugin that I added on the drum bus. So this is affecting all of my drum elements besides the kick drum. So doing like this like classic house reverser kind of thing to the drums. It sounds pretty awesome. And it's basically just a plugin from Kilohertz again, the reverser. And then I'm just automating the mix knob. Just works really well. And then down here, I have also recorded me twisting some knobs again. And this is the decapitator, so some distortion. Right now, I'm just putting this to 0 mix, but then I'm automating the mix knob. I have a lot of drive and distortion to the drums, but it's basically just to crush them a little bit. So if you listen here, maybe here you can hear it more. It's just a really subtle effect, so it just squashes the transients and blends together the sound. I can't explain it, but it just sounds a little bit more nice to me. So and this was just playing around with some effects, basically. These are the drums with all of the automation. Then we can move on to the synth that I have here. So this is like a sample and hold kind of vibe from the Arturia Jupiter 8. And as you can hear, it's actually moving a little bit on its own in the preset patch, but I just wanted to add a little bit more of extra movement. So if we go here to the first automation clip that I have added for the sample and hold synth, I hope you have noticed that I have color-coded everything to make it easier for you to follow along. So we're down here in the yellow area, these are the instruments. So I'm using the same approach where I'm sending some signal to an echo send with just a Fruity delay free. So it's basically just sending some volume to that delay, so feeding the volume into the delay, so adding these like throws. Just adding a little bit of delay, but instead of just having the delay to play all the way through, I just wanted to have at some areas playing, just to add like a little bit of extra interest in that area. And then the next one here is automating some of the built-in effects of the Jupiter 8. So if we go to Advanced and Effects, so I think it's automating the, yes. So it's automating the I can't even say that, the delay in the Jupiter 8. So just automating the dry wet over here. And that plays really well together with the other one that's sending into the echo send. Then I have the other one here, which is a filter that I have added on top of the sample and hold synth. And it's just a fruity filter. I have automated the cutoff frequency here, just drawn in some random like places where I wanted this filter to go. So you can see the cutoff frequency is like the filter is opening and closing like smoothly. And this is just to emulate like almost an LFO kind of effect. But I just wanted to have a little bit more control to add a little bit more of randomization to it. And it's just to make this synth like change a little bit again. Just subtle changes. Okay guys, I hope that you're still with me in this video. I know it's a little bit long, but I just want to make it as the best one as possible. These videos takes a lot of time to edit, and I can see that a lot of you guys are not even subscribed to my channel. So I hope that you consider subscribing to the channel and support the channel and all that stuff. Okay, let's get back into the video. Then I have another one down here, which is the filter cutoff inside the synth. And this is just opening up the filter. Let me just show you. So it's just this knob here. These small effects and tweaks just adds like that really cool transition effect here, working together with all the other stuff. And this is done without having like any SFX loops or anything. So using automation is really cool also to add like transition effects. Then we have another one down here, which is automating the dry wet of, I think it's the overdrive built in Jupiter 8. So just the dry wet here. And this is just adding a little bit of grittiness, a little bit of distortion to the sample synth. And then I have also sent this to the reverb send. So this one is also being fed into the reverb send. As you can see down here, it just adds more like volume signal into the reverb send. And this works really well when we are like opening up the filter over here. It really transformed this synth in a cool way. So I went really crazy with automation in this session, but I just wanted to show you as much cool stuff that you can do with this. So the last one for the sample and hold synth is this. I think I have to just look inside the plugin to see what it is. Okay, so it's this modulator of the filter, and this is being triggered by an LFO. So basically what I'm doing is that I'm modulating how much of the LFO that's modulating the filter cutoff. So this is the amount which I have made an automation clip of. And then if I play it, so it actually is on full modulation amount, but then right here, every like downbeat here, I actually turn it down. So I get a more like, it gives it a little bit more like a smooth sound. So it gets less of that like iconic like sample hold effect where it kind of sounds like it's going like up of like stairways going up and down. This is more like, now it's more like a flat filter modulation. just some subtle stuff. And I actually just tried to tweak some of the different knobs in the synth, just figuring out what I wanted to automate. So if I turned like some of these knobs and it made something cool to the sound, I probably want to automate it. And I think you should try that out as well if you're using VSTs. It could be like Serum or something else vital. Just try to twist some of the knobs, and if they do like a cool change, maybe you should try to automate it, make an automation clip. Now we're ready to move on to the E-piano. Let me just play it on its own, this one. And it's just like a standard E-piano from Arturia. What I want to do is with this one is that I wanted to add some coolness. So this one is also being sent to the echo send. So you can hear like this tail. It gets... That's pretty cool. So I'm doing that like in some areas over here with different values. And this is just to add that extra change to the E-piano. And if you pay attention to some of the other like automation clips that I have going, I want to have some, let's say, pockets, empty pockets, where I don't have any automation going on. Then I can add something from another like synth or drum element. If everything, like if all changes were to happen on top of each other, it will be a little bit difficult for your listeners to hear the change, because everything is maybe like squished together. So it will make more sense to like space it out throughout the arrangement to add these changes. So that's what I'm trying to do with just placing them here. So let me just show you it on the mixer. So you can see the E-piano is being fed into the reverb send and the echo send. So you see the automation down here. Really cool effects. Next, I added a chorus on top of the piano, and then I just automated the mix level of the chorus. So we get like a little bit of cool chorus effect in some of the areas. Also over here. And this is just the fruity chorus up here. I think it's even the standard preset that I just loaded up. And then I just automated the dry red knob over here. And this is the automation that you're seeing down here. Okay, so the last one that you see down here is the Effectrix, and it's being placed on the instrument bus. So I'm routing the sample and hold synth and the E-piano into an instrument bus. And on this instrument bus, I have this Effectrix going on here. And if you don't know what Effectrix is, it's just a like multi-effect plugin with a lot of different effects. So you can see looping, reversing, crushing, filtering, delay, reverb, and so on. And then it's like a step sequencer based. So I can like put in where I want this effect to happen. So I'm using some looping, some reversing, some stretching, some filter, low pass filtering, and a phaser. And basically what I wanted to do is that whenever like each section is ending, I want to add this effect to all of my like melodic instruments. So I'm automating this master mix knob right here. And this is what you see down here. So let me just open up the plugin so you can see what's going on. So right down here is the automation. So here like the sounds are changing, and that's due to like the looping and the reversing. And this is just a really cool plugin if you want to use it for transitions, add weirdness to your tracks. I could really recommend to get this plugin. We're soon done with all of the automation. I have a bassline down here. You might be thinking why I'm not soloing each of the instruments that much. That's because I want you to hear like how everything works together to add dynamic changes, because it can be a little bit dangerous to have to just solo stuff, do the automation, and maybe that automation is conflicting with some other elements in your mix. So try to have everything playing while you're adding these automations, because then you can hear how everything is working together or not working together. So for the bassline, I added a filter cutoff, and this bassline is from my lovely Silent One that I just love so much, and I'm so happy that I got more into using it. So I have a filter cutoff here, just opening up the sound, and this is just what's doing. So I can just play this area over here. So it's opening up the filter. And you can hear like this bassline is working really well with that high pass filter that we added on the master channel. So this DJ effect is really working. So it just makes the sound a little bit more thin, and it's really cool for transition. So that's like one automation clip. Then down here, I'm using the mod envelope, the decay, and that's inside Silent One. So it's this knob down here. So it's basically as we are opening up the filter and letting more harmonics pass through in the upper range, we're also making the sound a little bit more sustained. So making the bass notes a little bit longer. And I think that works really well when you're like trying to add that more like washed out sound. And I love that for like bigger transitions. So that's what it's doing. Pretty effective. Okay, and then I also added, I think this is like a chorus effect that's inside the Silent One. Yeah, so I added the chorus effect here and put the dry red to 0. And then in the automation down here, you can see I'm applying some more chorus to the bass. If you're on headphones or good speakers, you can hear that it's being added some more stereo width to the bass. I think that was a pretty cool effect to add. So yeah, you should try to play around with also adding some chorus on your bass. So the last one I want to add to the bassline was to send it to the reverb send. So each like bigger down hit, the bass gets a little bit of reverb. It's just subtle. Now I'm gonna solo it so you can hear it, but just this effect. It just gives a little bit of extra change. So that's actually it for all of the automation clips. I really encourage you to just jump into playing with all of these different automation possibilities. Of course, you don't need to add maybe this much. Maybe fewer automation clips is enough for your track, but definitely jump into adding automations to your songs, because you can really add something that stands out from the rest. Let's just play this whole track, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Pretty awesome. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, it would mean so much to me if you smash that like button or even subscribe to the channel. And you can always just ask some questions down in the comments below if you want me to cover other production aspects or just want to say hi or something. I think you should watch this video next if you want to learn some of the 16 tips and tricks in FL Studio that I wish that I knew when I was starting out producing. You can watch it up here or up here. So I hope to see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.